So just now I heard that you mentioned about like how much it costs, right? So I think like budgeting and cost is a huge part when it comes to like decoration, right? So could you share with us like how can a couple budget for decoration? Because I think given the choice, every bride would love to have a nicely decorated wedding, right? But as in how much does it cost? How much should they put aside for the decoration? I mean, how do they even start? It sounds like something that's very fuzzy and hard to put a finger on.
Yeah. That's a difficult questions because the budget range for decoration can go up from like say 2,000 to 20,000. So also the difference is how elaborate you want it to be. How much you want this theme to be incorporated in your weddings. Do you need to change the wall with drapings? Do you need to change the whole entire stage? So I always ask the couple to budget maybe about 10%. Start from there. 10% of their overall budget.
I see.
Starts there first, and then if you want more, then you can work it out like maybe 15%. Or if you don't have, then probably you can have an idea that you may not get whatever you want. So 10% is a good gauge, good start, and you can work.
But that's for basic decor, right?
Yeah, basic decor. Because don't forget that some hotel or banquet in Singapore, they package everything together. You have a stage decor, you have invitations also, and you have a centerpiece. That is a template. So if it actually gives you a more leeway where to focus on. Let's say if you don't mind to use for the hotel centerpiece, then you can focus on the receptions.
I see.
Yeah, and that is something that is more flexible for couple.
I see. So it means that you will also work with the florists from the hotels where they have standard like themes to choose from, right? And then you will pick, they will pick you to work with the florists, right? So how do you guys work together? Because they represent the hotel, they do the flowers, and you come in and do the decor. How do you guys work together?
As a wedding stylist or decorators, we already come up with a theme. And we already know what color that the couple choose. So we look at the overall theme, which one is closer to the couple's theme. Then we will contact the florist and ask, can you change the color to this flower or these flowers to this flower? Usually we have no problem working with the florist. So far, all the florists will comply on. As long as there's
cooperative.
Yeah. As long as there's no top up.
I see. So it's quite important that you guys are put in touch with the florist so that you can coordinate your work together.
Yeah, that's why we are a little bit different than just florists or just decorator, because we took planning elements, a little bit of planning elements, because we liaise with the hotel florist on the color and theme. So we also plan on how we can incorporate all these different elements to work together for the couples.
So when you do, like, say the hotel florist does flowers, do you do like the props, like the big size props or like the backdrops?
Yeah, we do the backdrop. If the couple they are not satisfied with the hotel theme, standard theme, so we can do a top up. We also do a top up of the hotel's theme. So like by maybe adding fairy lights or adding some of our flower stands or our big marquee lights.
So you will work together with the florist, hotel florist to do that. Then sometimes maybe the items might mix up, or you might have to really coordinate your time very well, right? Because sometimes the turnaround time is really short, right?
Yeah, it's short, but it's fine because we are given usually 2 to 3 hours to set up. That is quite ample time. And the challenge is whereby when we order certain flowers and doesn't come the right size or the right color or the right flower type. So that's it happens quite often actually.
Also you have to last minute. You have to look for more flowers or a different color to fix that.
Yeah, we have to do last minute change. That's why when we bring in our own flower do last minute touch up, we always bring extra elements, extra props, extra ribbons.
Wow. Well, that would mean extra costs as well, right? So I mean, back to the cost thing again. So say if I want a certain design, I'm not sure if I want exactly that design, but maybe I think that design is quite nice and I show it to you. Will you be able to tell me how much I need to budget for to execute that design?
Yes. We can tell you how much it is to fabricate this look in regards of your venue. So I will maybe give you a range of how much does it cost to do up a certain theme, and you can look back at your budgeting. Will this amount actually worth your investment? Then you also can set your expectation. In order to hit this look, then this is certain amounts. Of course, this amount it's not 100% fixed, because if you take out some of the elements, you reduce it, you still get the structure, but maybe it's not so as elaborate.
I see.
Because decoration is very fluid. It's not a template, unless we can create templates for everyone, which is we are actually doing it right now.
Trying to see how you can make it a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, more mainstream and more modular. Instead of a fixed template, we can move things around and change color.
I see. It sounds a lot more flexible and easy to deal with.
Yeah, there's also it's a challenge, because as a wedding decorator, usually we create everything from the scratch. If you create everything from the scratch, then the cost will translate to the couple and it will go higher. But if we keep reusing things that we already have, then that cost can be shared among a few couples. So that's what we're actually aiming for. We don't want to just do a customized theme.
Right. So I could literally just give you 2 or 3 pictures. Helen, I'm looking at something like that. Could you tell me how much it costs for this? And then based on what I want, then you can help me arrange.
Yeah. Then I can also suggest, okay, since you want something like that, we do have certain things that's a bit similar. Can you, and then this might be cheaper options. Can you take...
would you be able to accept something like that? But I mean, do you have cases where like maybe a bride shows you a picture that's really nice and tells you, oh, my budget is like maybe like 5,000 or 10,000. So obviously it doesn't match. So how often does something like that happen? Do people usually over or underestimate the cost required?
Usually it's underestimate the cost required.
Okay.
Yes, that happens all the time, but maybe 50%. Because it's hard to justify the cost. But Singapore labor is very expensive, and flower cost is very expensive. Everything is imported. Whereby in US and if you take picture from Pinterest, it looks like it's bound. The flower is bound, but in order to get something like that in Singapore, the cost is 2 times, 3 times.
So flowers are more expensive in Singapore than in places like the US.
Yeah, it's much more expensive. So you need to know first how much the flower kind of costs, and so the labor cost in Singapore is not cheap, and also rentals very high. That's why 10% is just a basic of the overall budget, but it's a good place to start.
So Helen, any tips if a couple wants to work with a wedding decorator, how should they be picking the right one for them?
Okay, you always need to see their portfolio, their past works, how will they execute the wedding's decoration itself. So if you see a nice overall pictures, then you know that maybe these decorators take into consideration how the items looks in the eyes of the photographer. Because a lot of people can do decoration, but do they take into consideration how it will be projected in the
that's
camera?
An interesting one.
Yeah. So we always conscious about how it looks in the camera, because at the end, pictures turns out to be one of the most important things for us. So you need to look at their portfolio. You also need to look at their past reviews, and also if they have done the weddings in the particular venue, or are they flexible to work outdoor, indoor wedding venues, because it's different to decorate an outdoor wedding and indoor weddings.
When you say see how they execute, do you mean like I should ask for like what's the plan that they give to the couple and how it came out to compare? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, because decoration usually is quite fluid and also quite subjective. It's not like you order A and you will get B. Sometimes you will get A plus B. So we always sketch the overall feel. Then we will run through the couple, get the approval, then we will execute. So I guess you need to know what you prefer. Like you don't want any black color in your wedding decor. Then you must tell your.
How do you deal with brides who really can't make a decision, right? Or maybe it's really hard. Maybe maybe today they want this one, and tomorrow they see something else they want to change.
For us, we always get an approval for the couple by the couple before we start any fabrication. So we do this sketch. But if couples not sure what they want, they can tell us what they don't want.
It's easier to tell what they don't want, right?
Yes. At the end of the day, you need to trust the wedding decorator to execute your wedding, to style your wedding. Trust is very important for any clients to. If you want to engage any wedding decorator and stylist, you must trust with their taste.
I see. Okay, so an interesting question for you right now. So any pet peeves, right, of wedding decorators or wedding stylists, right, when it comes to working on weddings? I mean, could you share with us? Because I'm sure a lot of our brides and grooms don't want to make mistakes that others have made before.
Yeah. My pet peeves if a couple come to us with the pictures and they want it exactly the same, replicate exactly the same, without considering the lighting, considering the venue, and the materials. Of course, we can try to replicate as close as we can, but still there's a lighting effect. My pet peeve, I'm quite irritated by couple who don't consider lightings, don't consider the natural lights. When we show them, maybe it's exactly the same fabric, but if in a different lighting, then they fault us for that. And also, if couple comes to us and then they ask like, can I know where you get your props? Can I see the receipt? I have couple who comes to me and like, can I see the receipt of what things that you buy?
That's not very nice.
That's not. Yeah. It's not very nice for them to ask, and it's very difficult for me to reject.
Or it's a very difficult situation to be put in. Yeah. And what about cases where they buy their own props and say that, hey, I see they're going to do this, why not I buy from online, right? Maybe it'll be cheaper.
Yeah, that actually is perfectly fine for us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, this is your wedding. We will help you put together your wedding props or even your personal props. That's what we do. We want you maybe to bring your own personal props, then we can style it for you. At the end of the day, this is your wedding. You want to be personal, and we don't want to be too calculative on certain items. You need to get it from us, because at the end of the day, we are like kind of like your friend who decorate your wedding.